dragons. One of the greatest fantasy thing creatures ever. But imagine this. What if you could have one of these guys? Like one of these magnificent, fire-breathing, flying murder machines as a servant? Well, fear not. Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid is here to help. Now, this show looks just like a regular moe anime type deal, right? And on the surface, it certainly is. Now here, I'm Kevin Lane, and I'm going to tell you about the deeper parts about Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. Okay, so this anime actually has a lot of realism involved with it. Like, the characters, well, obviously being like dragons or just anime characters, mostly are their caricatures, but there's something way bigger involved. Like, all of them showcase a fundamental part of what it means to be a person. To be happy and fulfilled, even if somehow it's not what other people want from you. Now, I'm gonna go through every character here to analyze their personalities, what they're keeping secrets, their flaws, and everything, and we'll come to the conclusion that, presumably, this show is very deep when it comes to their characters. So stick with me. First, get the most boring character out of the way, at least in my opinion. Riko is just... honestly, her crush on Kana is poorly explained at the best of times, and I have not read the manga, so I don't know if anything is happening because why it's happening. But I want to do all of them because all the rest of them have something, so she's a nice contrast that there are some simple characters in this show, you know? But, yeah, all I can really say about her is that her forehead is brighter than my future. Ah, Shota. Sweet cinnamon rose Shota. You should not have tried to summon a demon, because that was the worst decision of your life. I mean, depends how you look at it, I guess. But, yeah. This guy actually raises some interesting questions, not as his character, but, he says he's from an entire family of wizards or sorcerers. I'm not really sure what the word was again, because I was in Japanese. But either way, this kind of proves that magic, at least in some sense of the word, does exist in the human world. Which makes me question, why hasn't it been discovered before? It adds a lot of interesting questions to the mix that I genuinely want to know. Like, can we explore more about the magic system in this world, about his family? Could we possibly, have a link between this world and the other one that about the magic, or is it just a ritualistic type deal, like many Wiccans do? I really am interested in that, and I love that it is gonna season 2 that we're gonna explore this a bit further, because I really want to know more about how it all works. Now, the character had a pretty short span in the show itself and wasn't really built on very much, so I wonder if season 2 comes if we're gonna get more of him, We're gonna learn more. I'd really like to see that, and I know you do too. Now, Miss Kobayashi's best friend and colleague now. This guy looks very unassuming. When I first saw him, I thought oh, he's gonna be like one guy, who just sometimes shows up for some nice mayhem, but overall, isn't gonna have that deep of a story to him. And, in fact, he doesn't, because he's already fully developed on his own. He doesn't need to, change. He doesn't need to really do anything, because at work, he's just a perfectly well-composed citizen. What if you didn't know any better, you'd think, oh, he just goes to work, does his job, and then goes home and just, I don't know, cracks open a cold one and watches TV. Which, I mean, that's not pretty much how I live my life, but, yeah. Anyway, that's not how he is. Because this guy right here, who you think, oh, he's just an average guy, well, newsflash for all you guys, he is a freaking diehard otaku. He has games, anime, and basically his entire apartment is filled with the stuff. Like, I don't have a picture here, but holy shit, just trust me, his thing is full of it. His apartment is full of the stuff. Which is why he probably got along well with the shut-in Fafnir later on, which we're gonna discuss later, because he's a whole other can of worms we should not open what we're going to. But yeah, anyway, I like his character. He kind of reminds me of me, you know, like, I have to stay perfectly composed while at work, but yet, when I'm here, I'm just your general nerd. Like, I like books, anime, games, and all that kind of stuff, you know? But he's very relatable, which is probably why I wanted to include him in here, even though he's kind of like one of the most vanilla characters. Nothing wrong with vanilla. I mean, I like vanilla ice cream too, but, you know, just wanted to make sure that he got some recognition, because he's oftentimes overlooked when compared to other characters, because he's just the everyman, honestly. Not much to say here, but I do like his friendship with Kobayashi, and Toru doesn't really like him, but I guess it's just because she kind of sees him as competition, which we're going to be talking about Toru's crush later. Like, don't worry about that. I've got a lot to say about that, oh boy. But anyway, yeah, this guy's cool, but the human characters are the ones that are the least interesting, in my opinion. Now we're going to get into the really interesting ones. Starting with, oh boy, this is a can of worms that I should not have opened. Honestly, a friend of mine really loves this guy, and I don't know why. And again, she's kind of into the goth thing, so, whatever. But honestly, he's genuinely an interesting character when you really look at it. Like, he's just a shut-in. He's an actual dragon from mythology who's known to be a shut-in, hoarding all the gold, and attacking villages. He hates humans, which is pretty clear when you look at him already, that he's not the happiest kind of person. Though, I gotta wonder, now to think about it, by the way, do dragons choose how they look towards the outside world? Could they change it? I really want to know that, because that seems interesting, because they can clearly wear different clothes, but as Toru said, her outfit is her skills. Maybe I shouldn't go too far. Yeah, I like him because he actually forms a pretty good friendship with Makoto, because, well, they're both shut-ins, essentially. Well, not shut-ins. I don't really know how to describe it. They're nerds, basically. He becomes a freaking otaku on his own. And then he writes a book about magic, which, let's be clear here, it wouldn't sell here because people don't really believe in magic. He's a dragon, he doesn't know that much, and I like that they based him off a pretty well-known black dragon anyway. So, yeah, he's pretty cool. Honestly, no problem with him, but he's just not that deep, Maybe I was wrong about this video. Are the characters actually deep? Oh, come on now. Sorry guys, I tried. I guess this game show really just is very simple. Thought I was gonna give in, did you? No, this, from here on, actually gets really freaking interesting. Like, Lukawa, or Quetzalcoatl, or however you want to call it, she was a goddess. Like, literally, not just in, like, the way of, like, oh my god, she's wife. No, which she isn't, clearly. I'm not into that kind of stuff. But, Jesus Christ, her story is pretty epic, and her fall is actually her own fault. Like, so, she was a goddess one, right? Quetzalcoatl was a goddess, that's pretty well known. But she fell because she accepted a drink from another god, which angered the others and made her fall. Which essentially, and we can see that throughout the entire show, how her just impulsiveness leads to her getting into trouble more than once. Like, she moves to the human world to be taking care of a little boy that honestly just summoned her because whatever, and she just jumped in without any second thoughts. And that alone shows how impulsive she is, which I really freaking like, because we don't often get to see that kind of stuff, you know? Like, yes, we often get to see, like, the big, busty girl, anime girl, but we don't often get to see a character like her, like Lokua, just, that just is complex, yet also very simple. There's a fine line. She has clear flaws in her character, but also is very caring, open, and nurturing, which are traits that are genuinely what some humans have in this world. She kind of has that motherly feel, if you know what I mean. Yet, she's also not perfect. She showcases very clear flaws, which makes her a very realistic depiction, even though she's the dragon. Like, honestly, maybe we're not so different after all. Now, as for Kana, I know what people are gonna say, like, don't loot the dragon lolly, and I am agreeing with that. Do not. There's a police car right there. Do not. But yeah, her character is quite interesting because, well, I believe she's actually not that much younger than Toru, yet she looks like a kid. Which really makes the question, can they choose how they look, or is it determined by their age, or how they generally are? Because, I mean, yes, she's very childish, which kind of got her banished, but I'm like, if they can just banish dragons, then why? Like, okay, their family is the same as ours, in which case, why did her parents even let her get banished? Also, because she clearly wants someone to nurture her and to care for her, and she's quite mischievous, in at least as from what we say, even though she just seems very pure. But yeah, it's her. It is kind of like with Shota. Like she brings up a lot of questions, but she doesn't really add much to the answers. She's just there. I guess she's just there to kind of have to a very specific crowd. Like, oh boy, why do we have those kind of people even? Like, but anyway, yeah. She brings a lot of interesting questions that I want answered in season 2 if KyoAni ever makes it. But aside from that, her character is interesting. As I said, Lukua was an interesting and realistic character, but she's just sweet. That's it. She's just a child. Although she does bring a lot of development for both Toru and Miss Kobayashi, so there are some good parts there, you know? She's a simple character who actually brings development to other characters around her. But she also grows a bit on her own, but not substantially enough for me to actually fully have a long analysis. Plus, you know, I'm gonna keep this under a certain time, so yeah. Alma, she is interesting. Like, we didn't really get a lot of screen time with her, which is a shame, because I feel like her and Toru could have a pretty interesting dynamic together. Now, clearly, she is, like, part of the, I guess, order type of dragons, or the good ones, essentially, which makes Toru a bad guy, technically, which kind of gives us a feeling that we're rooting for the bad guy in this scenario. So, maybe this is actually Death Note. Kidding, of course. But no, seriously, she's interesting because, well, just like with Kana and Shota and, well, you know, she adds a lot of questions to and depth to the lore of that world. Like, are the dragon factions actually located? Like, are they determined by race? By just allegiance? Can a dragon change their faction? Or are they just stuck in there no matter what they might start to believe? Which actually does a lot of things for the good of this show. Because, while yes, it's just normal hijinks in a modern world with dragons, I want some deeper lore, actually. You know, that's what I look for in my material. Deeper meanings. Welcome to this channel. I mean, not that there's many videos yet, but, you know, sorry, I'm unprofessional, but I like to make jokes in my videos. Not being very formulaic. But, yeah, she's a pretty cool dragon. Water dragon, by the way, which, just to FYI, that's my favorite type of dragon. I believe she was a sea serpent. So, which usually are evil, aren't they? So, which adds a lot more to it, like, because if sea serpents are supposed to be evil, right? Then, how is she good? Are they just, so adding more questions, like, can indeed they switch factions? Which I think, yes. I think they are able to switch factions if their convictions are strong enough. Now, obviously, you're probably born into a faction, which usually you're going to stick with that faction because, hey, I mean, they're a family, of course. Oftentimes, I don't know exactly how dragons operate in this. Most of the time, at least in D&D, dragons are not familial beings. Like, not in the way humans are, at least. Especially black dragons. I would know. I have one in my current campaign. But, yeah, Alma basically tries to bring Toru back. Why, I wouldn't know, because she's your rival. You could get rid of her just by ignoring her being in this world. But it was about the world order and balance and a lot of other stuff. Now, do I think that she has potential for later because we didn't get a lot of her? Yes. Which is why I put her last before the big two. Because she stayed because of food, which shows that likely there's not a lot of food in their world. Or at least not for a dragon that doesn't want to kill. Yeah, because... So, which actually would make her quite tragic because also... Does anyone get shonen protagonist vibes from her? Because she loves food, has a incredible belief in justice, and chases the enemy everywhere. Honestly, if I didn't know any better, I'd say she was Goku. The character the series is named after, Miss Kobayashi herself. I don't think we ever learned her first name, which, well, it doesn't matter anyway, but yeah. She's simple, but I think that was intentional. I think they wanted to showcase how her simple, just mundane, uneventful life got uprooted by dragons all of a sudden. Which... Also, it's funny how she got there in the first place. Like, first of all, she just got drunk one day, and all of a sudden, boom! Dragon! And then she just pulled out a sword, which... Would that make her King, or I guess Queen Arthur? But I guess it's out of a dragon, not of a rock. But yeah, I mean, it's actually a pretty nice story, and just she has an obsession with maids, which, I mean, is a nice character quirk, which also adds into the main series, because, I mean, she has a dragon maid. And just her and Toru just has such a nice dynamic. She genuinely cares about Kana despite having no relation to her. She actually comes to care about the other dragon friends, Fafnir and Lukua, and even Elma to some extent, because they become colleagues. Like, she's a very nice character whose life got uprooted by all this, and the best thing is, I believe that she is the main reason Toru did what she did. What I'm gonna talk about soon. Because, well, mostly I had an idea of talking about Toru's turn to the light, but then I realized all characters had something big. So, now we're gonna talk about what I initially was going to talk about. This smile is something that soldiers will fight to protect. Like, literally die. I mean, this poor girl, this poor dragon maid girl is just... Ugh. Her story's sad, right? Like... Okay, look. You might think that she's just your average girl, yeah? Right? Your average dragon. She was part of the Chaos faction, born into it, as the daughter of their leader. Meaning that, pretty much from the start, she was destined to be evil and to destroy. But then there was this little girl that kind of looked like Rico for some reason. Oh well, I guess they may have counterparts in that world. But who just said that if she could choose, what would she do? She said, become a maid. And while that seems to her like a very simple and unremarkable life, the girl just responded with, I know, but if so, then it would still be my choice. Which I feel like didn't really make her realize that her, path wasn't hers to choose, but I feel like it opened the way for Miss Kobayashi to come in. Because in a battle she got injured by a giant sword. and she pretty much resigned herself to death. She went to another world to die there in peace, and then Kobayashi just stumbled upon her while she was drunk and pulled the sword out. Then they had a talk, and during that conversation, I feel like that kind of opened her eyes to the potential of humans. Now, she did start off loving humans. She was very critical of them. She still thought of them as lesser in a way, and she almost killed people a few times. But over the course of the series, like, it was a pretty short run, but over the course of the series, she grew to actually realize that people and dragons, maybe they're not so different. Maybe if they just try, they can live in peace. But, well, as sometimes had the case with family, they come in to ruin it. Her father. Now, the Emperor of Demise, he just wants Toru to fulfill his design. Genuinely, he doesn't care about her. He cares about what he wants and doesn't care what he has to destroy to get it. Which is just a very despicable trait, but it also adds to the conflict for Toru because, I mean, on one side, she wants to fulfill her family's wishes because, I mean, really, if you've only known these people, of course you're going to be susceptible to them. Of course she doesn't want to because she's fallen in love with Kobayashi, which I still think that was kind of a little early, but, you know, whatever. Maybe dragons just find a mate real quickly. But onto him, like, why, like, okay, I understand, you know, he wants to bring her into just to keep her in his faction and have her destroy and kill. But she's your daughter, man. Don't you have any love for her? Which even Kobayashi brings that up. And while he retreats, I don't think it's the end of it. I think he's gonna come back. And Toru has to make a decision. Either she saves her world where her and humans and everyone she cares about lives, and by killing her father, or she dooms the entire world. I think that's how the series is going to end. She has to kill her dad, because he is just a threat to everyone. But I love how, at least for the time being, she just rejected all his ideologies. Everything he stands for, she rejects. The domination of humans, or rather destruction, rejects it. That humans are weak, she rejects that notion. Also the fact that she's nothing more than just a dragon who's so supposed to kill. She rejects it outright. She won't even listen to him because, well, quite simply, that's not who she is. Change. Can he? I don't think so. He's insane. He needs to be stopped, and quite honestly, I feel like Toru is just one of the best developed characters because this is a journey I went through as well. Wanted to make my family proud and just... But in the end, I realized that it will never be enough. They will never let me be me because I always had to be them. Or, well, you know, be what they wanted me to be. And so, well, that's why Toru is so relatable to me. I really like her character and the arc she went through. Most of these characters might seem simple, but each and every single one of them delivers something to the overall story, world, and characters. Even characters like Shota, Riko, heck, Kana, even Fafnir, they all deliver something. They deliver world building, proper characterization, development for other characters. They all play a part in this design. It makes it so believable that in the end, when faced with decision, she just chooses to stay with the one she genuinely cares about, rather than the one who just wants to control her. because, well, she realized that he's just not worth abandoning everything for. Even if her time with Kobayashi will be short, especially compared to a dragon life. She knows that when Kobayashi eventually passes away, she will be able to keep going with the memories of the woman she loves still in her head. And that is why Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid is a stellar anime, and the characters are some of the best I have ever seen. Thank you so much for watching this video. Now, let me know what you think of this show. Have you watched it already? Or are you just not very interested in it? Please leave your thoughts on it below in the comments. And please also leave a like on this video because, well, I mean, really could use it. Also, please, tell me your favorite character. And if you have any more things to add about the manga, if you've read it, please let me know. I'd really like to know more about these characters and about the world. Now, I'm Kevin Lane, and I will see all of you next week.